Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. We have our special guest with us, Marinna Andriopoulos. How's it going today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to have you back on. I had to do some math before you jumped on. I was trying to figure out when we had you on,
Yeah.
and then I was trying to figure out how it got set up. And I think it was through your mother because you were like 16 at the time, weren't you?
I was like 16, like
Yeah.
freshly 16. Yeah. So it's been a little bit.
Gotcha. So, how things been going for you?
It's been going really great. Throughout the years of being in the industry, I've been working on a lot of new music and been working on my debut EP, which will be debuting this Friday, which is super exciting.
Nice, nice. I'm excited to hear the EP. I've been listening to your music. Obviously, we got connected back in 2021, and I've been listening to your music as it just kind of comes across my feed, and you just kind of hearing how you've grown musically over the last few years, and then what's it has it been like has it been 6 months since when did Miss Tennessee drop?
Miss Tennessee dropped in September.
Okay, so not quite 6 months, but so yeah, I guess let's start there. Since that's the most recent single. It has Was it from there you thought about working on the EP, or how does kind of like from Miss Tennessee, how does the EP kind of come into play?
So the EP has kind of been in the works for like a little over a year. If I'm going to be completely honest, I honestly started the EP a little before Miss Tennessee. Miss Tennessee came about just because of my love for the Vols and
Mhm.
football. And I really thought it'd be fun to put out during the football season or right at the beginning of it. And that was really great because I got to have my song played in Neyland Stadium during one of the football games, which was also like such a surreal experience. That was really fun. And I got to start singing for the basketball games and now the baseball games for like national anthems. So that's also really something cool that has come from that. But the EP has been just a really big project I've been kind of working on for a while. It's a heartbreak EP,
Mm.
so it's a storyline heartbreak EP. It's so different from anything I've ever released before. It's so like genuine and raw and intimate, and it really just like tells the story of from the very beginning of being so in love with this guy and then him breaking your heart, and then you go through every feeling of angry and sad and wanting him back, and in the end wishing him well no matter whether or not he's with you. And I really just wanted this record to feel like a heartbroken girl in her bedroom singing to you. And I think with this record, I've really accomplished that sound. So it's so different from anything I've ever released before, and I'm really excited to be this vulnerable with my audience for the first time.
Was there a moment that you realized like maybe I need to try and be a little bit more vulnerable with your music, or was it just like as you grew and started to mature, you realized like, hey, maybe this might be something I should be doing?
I think it was kind of a growing thing. Like as I like, grew up with my music and had a lot of different, life experiences, especially with like, having a guy that you were so in love with that absolutely crushed you. It was like I know so many people relate to that and have that same experience, with relationships, situationships, it being so complicated for absolutely no reason. I think it's just something I was like, I think this is the time I need to be vulnerable with my audience and really bring this story to the next level. I feel like everything else that I've released have been, they've been stories, but they've been, like Miss Tennessee about like football and loving like your hometown and where you're from. And I did write More Than Enough, which was also, kind of vulnerable from the standpoint of being, bullied when I was younger. But I feel like for the first time, I'm really truly opening up with my audience and being like really vulnerable with them and telling them more details, like more in depth. Some of the songs have really like really crucial details to like this like relationship and what actually went on. And now I don't name drop in songs, but I may or may not have dropped a football number in there, and it may or may not relate to real life. But I
Fair.
just really wanted to, yeah, you know, just trying new things and being very vulnerable with my audience, and I can't wait to see how they react.
Nice. So the person this may or may not be about, I'm guessing they may or may not know about this.
I don't think they really know. Not yet anyway.
Oh,
Maybe Friday they will, but
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Enough with the cryptic messaging. We've got it. So as you've been working on this EP, obviously you said that it's like a been a big project, and being your debut EP, it's or your first EP, obviously you put everything you have into it, and you want it to be as good as you can. Did you take a different approach with this project? Obviously, story wise, you did, but like as far as like writing and whatnot, did you try and do something a little bit different since the subject matter is like polar opposite what you've been writing about?
yeah, absolutely. I think with this EP, like going into it, I wrote these songs like literally at my worst, like being heartbroken. And, it's writing songs have always been my outlet. And I feel like I had so many different songs on one page. And so I was like, okay, I need to like separate these. So I I had some amazing co-writers that helped me really separate these songs into like what they truly could be, and kind of like they really helped with guiding. They were like, okay, like you have a lot of emotions on this paper. And I was like, yeah, like it's crazy. And it was almost like a therapy session. It was like they're like, okay, like this is a good song, like you need to like narrow down. And then a beautiful song was formed. And so I wrote with a bunch of amazing talented writers from Nashville. They're amazing. And this EP would not be what it is without them. So they really helped kind of hone in on each individual song, which
Sure.
was really nice. And this project I recorded locally at my hometown, so it's very personal.
Mhm.
I didn't go to Nashville for this EP, so it was kind of my Knoxville hometown little production EP, and I feel like that's really personal for this EP. I feel like it really fits well for it, just because it's so vulnerable and personal, and I wanted it to feel that way. So
Mhm.
that's also really fun that I got to do it here.
Nice. So recording it in Knoxville was very intentional. It was very intentional to record in Knoxville.
Yeah, for this EP it was.
Okay.
All of my other singles I had released in and recorded in Nashville, and so I think for future singles will probably be I'll obviously be going back to Nashville, but for this particular EP, I feel like it needed that hometown. Like I really wanted that girl in her bedroom heartbroken feeling, and
Yeah.
that's really what I was trying to accomplish with this. So.
Yeah. You wanted it to be because the story was very centric around you and your life in
Mhm.
Nashville, or not Nashville, Knoxville. Sorry. I've got other things floating in my head right now. It's like, oh no, but in Knoxville. And so it makes sense kind of like keeping it all in Knoxville and wanting to record there. Were the other writers, were they from Knoxville, or were they coming in from like Nashville, or were you working with them in
Um,
Nashville?
they were in Nashville. All the
Okay.
writers are in Nashville. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, with this project dropping in 4 days, 3 days, yeah, 4 days. What's kind of running through your mind right now? Where's your headspace kind of at?
Um, I'm obviously super excited for all my releases. It's always like so thrilling and exciting, like knowing that like the hard part's done. It's into distribution. It's out of my hands now. An exciting feeling, but with this being so vulnerable and so like him not knowing, and like none of my friends really knowing, and then it's going to be coming out. It's also kind of terrifying. It's like what's going to happen, like who's going to say something, and a lot of people are like, are you sure you really want to like release an EP about a guy and like and it's like you think about it and it's like, well, you know what? Like, yeah, like because like you like I went through this like alone. Like
Mhm.
I growing up, I was the kid that was like very reserved and didn't talk about their feelings. And even now, like I like to go through things on my own and figure it out by myself because I hate like my problems being somebody else's.
Mhm.
So I feel like I really went through that alone. And now I'm kind of ready to open up and talk about it more, which is nice. And I feel like I've been kind of like, been all bottled up. So it's nice to like it being off my chest and out in the
Yeah.
world, people knowing, but it's also kind of like, it's terrifying.
Right.
So,
Doing something different is always terrifying, but it's terrifying in such a good way because it's like the it not saying this is what you or this is what you did, but you were kind of hiding who you really were. It seemed like from my perspective, because you said you were as you were growing up, you were kind of very reserved, and now you're opening up a bit more. So it feels like you're kind of hiding who you really are, and now you've got the bullet in the chamber, and you're about to show everybody who
yeah,
you are, and it's nerve wracking because it's like, can people handle who I really am? So.
right.
But
Yeah.
as you were saying that, I was in my head, I was like, I remember when we were talking back 3 years ago when we had you on, how it all made sense because you were very like not reserved, but you were just very precise with how you answered questions. And
Right. Yeah.
now talking to you, it's like almost a completely different interview. So
Yeah, I was that shy, timid little girl, you know. I mean, I think growing up and being bullied, I cared a lot about what others thought.
mhm,
And now like growing up with my music, it's really been an outlet for me, being able to express myself and knowing that others truly do relate to my music,
mhm,
knowing that I am making a difference in their life. Like it really does like I look at life from a totally different perspective now. And I feel like, being open is the best way to communicate with anybody, really.
100% agree. I couldn't agree more. Um, so do you feel like that freedom started to unfold once you graduated high school and started looking into going into college and all that stuff? Or was it once you got into school, into college, going to Tennessee and whatnot, that freedom kind of started to come out?
Um, you know, I feel like even throughout high school, I kind of, felt the freedom to, work on my music and be like really open. I had great friends surrounding me in high
Mm.
school. And I had more friends in high school than I do in college, if I'm gonna be completely honest. I had literally grown up with them for years, and I recorded Dear High School, and a lot of my friends were actually in the music video, which was something I'm super glad that I did, because it's kind of like a little like senior memento to hold on to like throughout the years, and like we can look back on it. And I'm so glad I did that my senior year because they were all like so willing to be in it and help out with it, and it was like the best decision I ever made. um, so I feel like I had a lot of freedom like even in high school, so I feel like it's kind of always been there and something that I could openly talk about. And they were
Mm.
also supportive of like my music, even like the school, and they would play my songs at like basketball games and things like that. And I still go back and they play them, and it makes me like tear up, and it's like, oh. But yeah, it's all they've always been so supportive, which is
Uh,
really
Nice. That's cool. That's really cool. So now that we're approaching the release, what's your show situation looking like? Are you playing pretty consistently right now, or how does kind of school and shows and recording and all that stuff kind of balance out?
yeah, it's a lot. I'm not playing as much as I would like to be.
Mm,
I would love to be doing more live shows and playing out for my audiences. So I think that's something I'm really gonna try to get into more in 2024, moving forward. But it's been kind of challenging to juggle, school and music and recording, and it's like I'm living two different lives. So it's like balancing them out perfectly. And it's not easy, but it's definitely
Fair,
something I love to do. So,
fair enough. It's like Hannah Montana in real life.
right.
So, no, that's cool. It's always interesting, especially being so young and in school. Like, obviously, school is an important thing for a lot of people, to get your degree and whatnot. But still following your passion is very admirable. Like figuring out a way to make it work at both angles and, releasing music. And obviously, you'd mentioned you're not playing shows as much as you'd like, but like, I mean, I'm sure if it really came down to it, in between, if you have like an hour break in between classes, nobody's going to get mad at you for breaking out the guitar and just kind of playing in between school. Like, I don't know how Tennessee's laid out, like the school or whatnot, but I'm sure there's like a quad or something. So,
Yeah, yeah, I do take like guitar lessons and things like that, getting better at guitar for sure.
mm,
And it's always super fun to just sit and play for a while.
nice.
It's really like zones out everything else in school, and so it's a really nice like escape from reality.
For sure, for sure. So now that you have everything kind of set in motion for this, are you already looking at the next project, or are you kind of waiting to see what happens with this one and then you'll kind of figure out the next steps from there?
I feel like I'm kind of always working on a new project. I have a million songs I
Okay.
want to record. I have a million songs I'm writing. So I feel like always looking to the future, I'm working on a ton of new projects. So I definitely, want this EP to have its time to do its thing and
Mm,
get in front of the right audience and people to be able to relate with this before I announce another project. So
fair,
I'll definitely give this EP its time, but
fair.
I'm for sure working on a ton of new things.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just always because obviously in this day and age, it's like if there's some people that they're just taking it like one song at a time, and then you've got the people that are already got the next like five albums like ready to go and planned out. It's like there's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere. But you know, it's really cool, and I really appreciate the fact that we were able to get this rescheduled or not, yeah, rescheduled so quickly because originally we were supposed to do this Friday, I think,
Mhm.
right?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
um, so outside of music, when now that you're in school and whatnot, and when you need to take time to relax, what are you doing? What are some of your hobbies?
I think mainly music is my biggest thing, writing. I'm also an actor, so when I'm not doing music or in school, I'm on set filming something. So
Nice.
that's also something that I really love and I'm really passionate about and I want to continue doing more of. So
Nice. I was looking for a segue to bring that up, so I'm glad you brought it up. So what's this Netflix? Is it a movie or a show that you were?
I was in The Story of God with Morgan Freeman and
Oh,
it was like a TV series
okay,
on
got
Netflix.
okay. Now that you say Morgan Freeman, I know exactly what series you're talking about because I watched it on Netflix. So yeah.
That was
How long ago was that? How long ago was that project?
That was a few years ago. I
Okay.
think I was in middle school when I did
Okay.
that. So since
Got
then, I've been doing like commercials and things like that. But when COVID hit, it really shut a lot of things down for me and a lot of productions. And um, so that's when I really got into music and really started that like a little over 3 years ago.
fair enough. So when you came on 3 years ago, that was like your first real journey into music.
Hmm. Yeah, that's when I really got started with music. I was about 15 when I first truly got into it and decided that's really what I wanted to do. And I think our interview was like a few months after I was about to like release my first single. So I think that was like right at the beginning of of my music journey.
Nice, nice, nice. So let's talk about that for a little bit. I don't want to keep you here all night, but um, what obviously COVID played a role into it, but was music something that you always had a like an eye on as something to do in addition to acting, or was it going to be acting and then you yeah. So
Yeah, for sure. I think music I always really loved. I've been writing songs since I was 6. So it's been something that I've loved since I was a kid. I got into acting first, but I think I was always going to do both. I think it was always going to be music and acting. People still ask me, like, what would you rather choose, like, if you had to pick one? And honestly, I don't think I could choose. I mean, they both bring out something so much like better in me, like in two different ways. Like it's just like I can't even describe it because music is, something that I can do myself and explain my story. And then acting is, filling other people's shoes and putting yourself in a different role for the day or however long you're playing that part. So I find them both like so incredibly fun, and I'm so passionate about both of them. So I think it would always have been both. I would have found a way to do both. So
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It film is always interesting. I'm sure I brought this up last time, but that's how I cut my teeth. I was out in New Mexico and I did a lot of film work. And then I just kind of fell out of it because I got so sick and tired of putting all this time and effort into projects and half of them wouldn't even come out. Like nothing would come of them. And it's like one day or one weekend I drove like 8 hours to a film set to help them shoot it, and then the movie never came out. I didn't get paid, and I'm like, okay,
wow.
so so it's like, yeah, it's on my IMDb, but it's like it's an unfinished project. So like, how good is that really on an IMDb? So, and that's just happened a few different times, and I was like, unless it's my project, I really don't want to be involved in it anymore because I'm tired of doing all these projects and them not coming out.
Right. Yeah. That's
So,
understandable.
I mean, working with Netflix, it's a little bit different,
Mm.
but yeah, obviously they're not gonna not put out a project. So, um, have you been doing any now that the pandemic's kind of lifted? Have you been doing any acting more recently, or you're starting to get back into it?
I have. I'm actually going to be on set tomorrow for a TV show. So kind of, still trying to juggle everything. And so I've got a lot of upcoming projects. So
Nice. Do you have all the film kids at Tennessee coming to ask you to be in their film projects?
no, actually, I'm kind of doing more of the online schooling right now,
Mhm.
just because I have so much going on with music and also doing acting, and so I'm kind of doing the online
Mhm.
schooling as
Fair.
of now, just because it's easier to be able to work on music and do all the
Fair.
things I be doing.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess I'd imagine you're probably SAG, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, no, I don't even know why I asked that. You're probably SAG if you've been on a Netflix film. So that probably complicates thing even if a film student wanted you in their project. So, but Oh, so just kind of moving forward, obviously you're staying busy with film and doing all the doing film and TV, and then obviously you mentioned that you're doing a lot of writing and whatnot. What's keeping you motivated right now? Like as far as like just music and in life in general, what's keeping you motivated?
Um, I think right now, my music is very like motivating, and also like the people surrounding me. I feel like my family and my friends are really supportive of what I'm doing, and right now this EP, like I'm really excited for it to be out, and finally like be out into the world. I've been working on it for so long. I feel like it's been like a long time coming. Like
Mm,
I'm ready for it to be out and to finally be able to share these songs. And this is the first time I'm, releasing so many songs at the same time. So I'm excited to see like which ones are going to do the best. And they're all just so different. There's
mm,
like really like soft ballads, and then there's like really upbeat songs. So there's just a wide variety. And I'm excited because I've never done a storyline. type of project before. So I'm really excited to see how this pans out.
Yeah, for sure. Are you releasing it on hard copy as well, or is it all just like digital releases?
For right now, it's just digital. I think eventually I'd love to start doing CDs and vinyls and all types of things like that. I think that'd be incredible. But right now it's just all digital.
Because I think these story albums, they kind of lend themselves to more physical mediums, preferably vinyl, but that's just me. So
I agree.
uh,
I think the vinyls are so cool.
yeah, it's there's just something about it. I need to get myself a better record player, but other than that, vinyls are so cool. I've got a little Victrola suitcase thing that it sounds terrible, but it does its job. So,
Oh, that's
uh,
awesome.
yeah. Hey, for $60, I wasn't gonna get mad at it. Like it was just like, hey, I got something to play all these vinyls on now. So cool. You know. Um, so looking at the album, obviously asking you to pick your favorite, that would just be an absurd question. But how did you kind of go through the process of um selecting songs? Were you specifically writing for this EP, or were you just kind of writing in general and then like the songs kind of came together?
So, this EP I was specifically writing for. So the EP is called Always Remember,
Mhm,
and I was kind of basing it off of, a love that you'll always remember.
mhm,
When people talk about how you always have that first person that you're always gonna remember, no matter what. So that's kind of really what I was um, going for when writing
mhm.
this EP. So I feel like going into my writing sessions, I really knew what I wanted to write about. And there's so many good ones on this EP. I'm not sure if I could pick. I know one I'm really proud of is the title track, which is actually called Always Remember. And that one's really awesome because it's a love song, and it's the one that starts the entire EP. So it kind of sets the tone for the entire thing, and it's the one that may or may not have the football number in it, and I
Fair.
may or may not be very proud of that. um, but it's
Fair.
like for the first time, it's like, like I'm putting this out like for me, and just to know that like this is like a weight off my chest to put this out in the world and finally. So I think that one has to have like a special place in my
Yeah.
heart for sure. Just because, when I was writing it, I was like, should I do it? Should I put it? I was like, I'm not gonna name drop. I was like, should I?
Yeah.
And the girl I was writing with, she's like, girl, do it, do it.
Yeah.
He was like, he did that to you, do it. And I was like,
Fair.
okay, you're right.
Sure.
So
Now, are these songs that people have heard before, or are these all 100% brand new? Nobody's ever heard them. At least you play them live.
no, these are all 100% brand new. I haven't even leaked them on social media yet. I've been debating about it. I was like this week leading up to release day. I'm like, should I put a little clip? And I still may like leading up the next 3 days or so. But it's all
Sure.
brand new, and I'm so excited about it.
And was that a new strategy for you not to like road test the songs first, or are you usually you don't play them until they're out for the public to hear?
Normally I don't play them until they're out for the public to hear, but for my other songs, I did do like a little sneak peek
Mhm.
or something like that on social media beforehand. But
Gotcha.
I kind of want them to be like all this big surprise. Like it's
Yeah.
so different. Like I don't want to put a little clip out before and then just like spoil the whole thing. So
Mm.
I
Fair.
think I may just have like a big surprise EP.
Fair. And that's 100% fair because if you like it with it, the EP kind of laid out the way you say it is, it's like you don't necessarily want to put that first song out as like you don't want to necessarily put that out as a teaser because that may be a little misleading. And then if you put anything else out, it kind of gives away the farm. And it's like, no, just kind of let it be what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're so inclined, maybe like just you on the acoustic doing like as like you're talking about the album, you on the acoustic, just kind of playing a rhythm in the background that may or
Mhm.
may not hint to a song, but there's plenty of ways to do it to give away the vibe without giving away the secret sauce, you know?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just feel like they're all so different. Like it was such a big like healing journey throughout the entire like in the entirety of like writing this EP. It was just like each song, you know, you could feel yourself like healing a little more. And then like the girls that I was writing with, you know, really helped with that. Cause like I said, it was like a big therapy session and they were all like, you know, like you go girl, you do that. It was awesome. So they were all so supportive and so they were great. That was just a big like healing opportunity, I think.
Nice, nice. That's really cool. I'm glad you're putting this out there. You're making yourself more vulnerable. Would you say this is the most authentic representation of yourself, musically speaking?
I think authentic, yes. It's very real, and it's very true. I think everything that I wrote in these songs, you know, it actually happened. Like these things were actually said, you know, through text messages or through people that I was close to. I think this is like the most real I've ever been with like taking like real life scenarios and things that people truly said um like in actual conversations and putting them into songs. So I think this is definitely the most like real I've ever been with my audience and I'm really
Yes.
excited to see how they react to this. So
Nice. That's actually kind of an interesting exercise for musicians, taking bits of conversations and turning them
mhm.
into songs.
Right. I feel like with doing that, I'm doing it a lot more now and I don't even realize it. A lot of my friends or family that I'm hanging out with, they'll be like, I'll just be like, they'll say something and I'll be like, oh my God, that's a good song. And they're like, is everything I say like a song or a lyric or a poem to you? And I was like, yes, actually, because you don't understand. I was like, for like while I was writing this EP, like anything everybody said, I was like, oh, right now, oh, right now. Or I would be like walking in the hallway and be like, da, 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 and people would think I was absolutely crazy. But I was like, y'all, I promise there's a good reason. Like a good song's gonna come out of this. So
Right. It's like you have a friend that you're just hanging out with a lot because they're dropping dimes of like little one-liners that you're like, oh, that's great too. And
yeah,
then they're like, you're just using me for this. I better get a co-write credit or something, you know.
literally.
Oh, no, that's awesome. You know, just kind of finding something that works for you and the inspiration of day-to-day life just kind of keeps things really interesting. And, I'm excited to see I'm excited to hear the full EP in general. How many songs are on this one?
It's a 6 song EP.
6 songs. I'm excited to hear this EP. I will actually be in Nashville driving back to Texas, where I'm based out of, Saturday. So I'm
Oh,
gonna have something new to listen to. So I'm really excited about that. So uh it's just kind of funny because it's all working out so well because it's like, oh, I've got all this new music to listen to. I've got your EP and a few other people are dropping like new projects, and it's like, cool, new music. It's not going to be the same playlist that's
right.
always on rotation. So that's awesome. Um, so for anybody that wants to check out your music, interact with you on social, any of that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
So I'm on Instagram at Marinna Andriopoulos, Marinna Music on Twitter or X now, and then Facebook, Marinna Andriopoulos and Marinna Music.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, once again, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us. Um, for anybody out there that is maybe an aspiring musician, before we kind of wrap this up, what's one piece of advice you have for them? What's something you've learned, like just a little tidbit, I guess, in general?
I think for anybody going into music, really listen to yourself. Know what you want to talk about. Know what you want to release. It's easy to get discouraged. You know, there's a lot of competition in the music industry nowadays, but it's good to be supportive of fellow artists and people also trying to make it in the industry. So I think it's a good balance of, having that, being competitive, but also being supportive with others. And I think just listening to yourself and knowing what you want to release and opening up and being genuine, I think that's the best advice I could ever give anyone, even if they weren't a musician. So just be their truest self, and the best will come.
Awesome. Couldn't agree more. That's amazing advice. Uh, but really appreciate you joining us. It's been an absolute blast. Glad we had the time to catch up and sit down and chat a little bit. For anybody that wants to check out the EP, if you were listening in the or on Spotify to the pre or the recording, everything's in the description. I've got a link to her to the Spotify link and Instagram, socials, all that fun stuff. So please go check it out. Once again, thank you so much. Really appreciate you, and we'll talk to you later.